At 11, a search involving dozens of rescue personnel is ramping up after an experienced mountain biker goes missing.
We already have plans to begin searching, continue the search Monday, tomorrow, bringing in additional resources.
Plus, it's a miracle near Sisters, Oregon, after everyone on board a small plane walks away from a crash. And people looking to beat the heat on Savvi Island on the weekend now have to go through a new system. Why not everyone is happy about that change.
I get why they did it, but it's kind of like, okay, all right, one more thing to go through.
Thanks so much for joining us here at 11. I'm John Adams. Our top story tonight is the ongoing investigation in southeast Portland. That's where a stabbing incident turned into a homicide. Officers were called to a home at Southeast Boise Street and 114th Avenue just before 3:20 this afternoon. There they found a man who would be pronounced dead at the scene. Officers did make contact with the suspect who was detained. Boise Street is closed between 114th and 116th Avenues while police continue their investigation. Search and rescue crews in Mount Hood National Forest now total 70 people, continuing that search for a missing mountain biker. 52-year-old Ralph Sawyer did not return from his planned biking trip on Friday. His car has been found with his phone inside, but other than that, crews have not found any new signs of his location. And we spoke to an official near the search area. He detailed the resources being used in this mission.
Saturday, we had about 40 searchers out in the field using ATVs, motorbikes, drones. We had an airplane from Hood River County Sheriff's Office helping us out. So we've basically been using everything we've had to try to find him. And then today, Sunday, we've had about 70 searchers out in the field using some of those same tools. And they've really been able to cover a lot of ground today.
They're centering their search around the East Still Creek Road and roads around Trillium Lake. Sawyer is 6'1" with brown hair. He was last seen wearing an orange bike helmet, blue shirt, and black shorts. If you have any information, you're asked to call 503-723-4949. Well, new tonight in Deschutes County, 3 people walked away with relatively minor injuries after being in a plane crash. Deputies were called just after 11 this morning to a community just north of the Sisters Eagle Airport. There they found a small Cessna craft that crashed shortly after takeoff. They were able to get out of the plane before it became fully engulfed in flames. Fire crews were called to put out the plane before it spread to vegetation in nearby buildings. Well, turning now to weather, we ended the weekend with sunny and very hot conditions. And today is just the beginning of what's expected to be our hottest stretch of heat we've seen so far this summer. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to tell us just how hot things are going to be getting. Joe?
Well, let's start with this. Tomorrow, John, is going to be the coolest day of the work week with daytime highs in the low 80s. Now, earlier today, we topped out in the mid to the upper 90s. A few locations in the central and southern part of Willamette Valley came very close to hitting 100 degrees. So tomorrow is going to be much cooler to start the week, but we stay sunny and nice. Again, that extreme heat will really start to move in Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with the real heat at this point popping up by the middle part of the week. Now, that heat advisory has since expired throughout the metro area, but that kind of orangish color throughout southern Oregon and into the Columbia River Basin is still in effect. There's also a fire weather watch throughout parts of the Columbia River Gorge because it's going to be pretty windy heading into tomorrow afternoon with gusts anywhere from 25 to 30 miles an hour. So fire danger is definitely going to be high, not just throughout the gorge, but across the Pacific Northwest with this heat. Now, tomorrow is going to be very calm, but we will have a weather impact alert starting Tuesday through Thursday throughout the valley, the gorge, and the east side of the state. And we turn very hot. Highs in the mid to the upper 90s by Wednesday. Again, there could be a few locations that are looking at temperatures right around 100 degrees. Right now in downtown Portland, clear skies. Temperatures at this hour close to 80 degrees. I'll talk more about the detailed forecast and when we can see some relief coming up here in about 10-15 minutes from now.
All right, Joe, we'll see you soon. Thank you. Well, new tonight in our wildfire coverage, there are now level 2 BSET evacuation orders in parts of Jefferson County. What fire officials are calling the Cram Fire, which was discovered around 5:30 this evening. It's grown to about 1,400 acres in size and is 0% contained. Now here's a look at the current evacuation map. Pony Butte Road is currently closed, and visibly on Highway 97 around milepost 76 was poor today because of that smoke. The sheriff's office asked drivers to stay cautious or find a way around. Well, to the latest on the Highland fire, which is about 2 miles south of Prineville. Crews are facing high temperatures and wind gusts today. Overnight, they set up a perimeter around the entire fire, but it's still not contained, but they've been able to keep it from spreading beyond about 1,500 acres. Aerial resources will be able to help out firefighters on the ground who are working on cooling hotspots. There are level 3 go now evacuations in place near the fire, as well as level 2 and 1 evacuations. We'll follow KGW on air and online for the latest wildfire coverage. You can also watch us on your own schedule through our free KGW streaming app, KGW Plus. In McMinnville, officers arrested a man who allegedly crashed into a building with a woman and child inside the vehicle he was driving. It happened just after 12:30 Saturday at a building near the McMinnville Municipal Airport. Investigators believe 26-year-old Jamar Bell drove through a field and crashed through 2 chain-link fences before hitting the building. A witness told police they saw Bell stealing keys from the 2nd floor of the building. He's since been arrested and booked on multiple charges. The woman and the child in the car were not hurt. Well, the high temperatures throughout the week means people will be looking to cool off at the beach. Well, this weekend was the second of the new parking pilot program on Savvi Island, where a Savvi Island Beaches Pass is now required along with your permit. Celine Stevens went back out to Savvi Island, where beaches quickly reached capacity and people had to be turned away.
How's it going today, man? You going to the beach?
I am.
All right, awesome. Do you have your parking permit?
A wildlife area parking permit and a free Savvi Island Beaches Pass are required if you plan on heading to any of the beaches on Savvi Island during a weekend or holiday this summer.
I made sure to get it done on my ODFW app this morning. Easy peasy.
This being the second weekend of the pilot program.
What you see here today is we're helping people that come through, because you can buy this online. Just go to myodfw.com and click buy license. You can also get it through SavviIslandParking.com.
The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife stating they offered 1,500 passes Sunday, yet by 2:30 in the afternoon, the beach's lots reached capacity, something Michelle Dennehy somewhat expected given the heat. She says the new system has helped with overcrowding.
We're definitely seeing that we don't have the kind of parking and traffic problems that we were experiencing. So definitely we're seeing that. We're hearing some good feedback from people coming through.
I've been here on the worst of the worst days. I mean, so if it's better than that, I hope that that will improve the experience for everybody.
Years ago when I used to come here, we kind of had to park like how we are now. And there used to be cars on the roadways too, blocking other people in.
And while not everyone was in the loop about the new rules,
We were stopped up there and they told us we had to get the beach pass and showed us how to do it on the phone.
So I'll have you scan that QR code.
operations still moved quickly, getting everyone what they needed and where they needed to go.
I showed it, and I just said, hey, here's the date, and guys said, go on in.
The line didn't bother me. We got here about 11 and it was okay. Some of our friends got stuck in line, about 10 people long, but nothing crazy.
Celine Stevens, KGW News.
Well, again, this pilot program only goes through Labor Day and only applies to weekends and holidays. The ODFW strongly encourages people to get their passes and permits before they arrive. Local business and political leaders are calling on Oregonians to show support for Intel as it's set to lay off more than 2,000 employees this week. Intel Corp initially indicated Tuesday the company would be laying off 529 manufacturing employees. But by the end of the work week, that number nearly quadrupled to roughly 2,400. At this point, the layoffs are set for Tuesday, July 15th at 4 Intel campuses in Aloha and Hillsboro. The Portland Business Journal said the revised figure means this will impact nearly 12% of Intel's 20,000 employees. But leaders in the community say this isn't just an Intel problem.
These are Oregonians, these are families. The ripple effect is real. It's not just when that person loses their job, how it just doesn't affect them. There is a ripple effect to the community.
Oregonians, wake up. This is another moment to stand back and think about the fact that we need to appreciate every single business, whether it employs 2 people or 22,000 people.
The company announced earlier layoffs were necessary due to high costs and financial concerns.